Welcome back, everybody. I'm your host, Doug Miller. And this is the Discipline of Greatness. This is a podcast about what separates the great from the rest. Not talent, not luck, but discipline. The habits built in silence. The work done when no one is watching. The choices made long before the spotlight ever shows up. Here we explore the stories of legendary athletes, iconic teams, and defining moments. Not just for what they achieved, but how they achieved it. Because greatness isn't built in moments, it's built in habits. Now let's get started. Greatness isn't something you stumble into. It isn't granted, inherited, or discovered by accident. Greatness is something you practice, quietly, repeatedly, and long before anyone is paying attention. Tom Brady didn't become the greatest quarterback in NFL history because he was the most physically gifted player on the field. We've all seen his draft day pictures. He became the greatest because he refused to be unprepared, refused to cut corners, and refused to let injury, age, or circumstance dictate his ceiling. This is not a story about talent, although he has plenty of that. This is a story about discipline. This is a story of how discipline, applied relentlessly over decades, created the most consistent winner the NFL has ever seen. Tom Brady was born on August 3rd, 1977, in San Mateo, California. The youngest of 4 children and the only boy in a fiercely competitive household. That competitive edge didn't come from nowhere. It was modeled daily. His father, Tom Brady Sr., was a former athlete who believed sports were a classroom for discipline. Preparation mattered, accountability mattered. Doing things the right way mattered. While he never pursued professional athletics, he treated sport as a way to build habits that lasted far beyond the field. His mother, Ghislaine Brady, was equally competitive and structured. She was known for her intensity, organization, and consistency. Standards at home were non-negotiable. Responsibility wasn't optional, and effort was 100% expected. Together, his parents created an environment where discipline wasn't discussed, it was lived. Growing up with 3 older sisters who were strong athletes themselves, nothing was handed to Tom. If he wanted to compete, he had to earn space, earn respect, and earn wins. When his father introduced him to sports, it wasn't about flash or dominance. It was about fundamentals. Repetition. Doing things the right way over and over again. And these are lessons that Tom will take with him all throughout his career. As a child, Brady spent countless hours throwing footballs, but what separated him wasn't arm strength, it was attention. He watched his foot placement, his balance, his release. Long before he could explain why those details mattered, he knew they did. Long before pressure situations existed, Brady was already preparing for them. In that household, discipline wasn't enforced loudly, it was lived quietly, day by day. At Junipero Serra High School, hopefully I didn't butcher that name, Brady didn't walk in as the unquestioned star. He split time at quarterback and wasn't showered with attention. There were no guarantees, no spotlight, and no shortcuts. Instead of transferring schools, as some kids may have, or complaining about opportunity, Brady doubled down on preparation. He stayed late after practice, repeating throws no one was watching. He worked on his footwork and timing, not to impress anyone, but because he believed those details would matter later. Even then, teammates noticed something different. Brady hated being surprised. He wanted to know what situations might come up in games and made sure he'd already practiced them. He wasn't doing it chasing praise from coaches or his parents or his teammates. He was doing it to build confidence through repetition. After graduating from high school, Brady headed off to the University of Michigan. Brady's discipline was tested at a new level. He wasn't handed the starting job. He split time at quarterback. He watched others receive opportunities first. But behind the scenes, Brady trained as if he were already the starter. After practice, he stayed on the field running 2-minute drills, visualizing end-of-game scenarios he might never get. He practiced third and long situations, red zone throws, and pressure moments long after teammates had left. Brady wasn't preparing for applause. He was preparing for responsibility. When his moment finally came, he didn't look rushed or overwhelmed. He looked ready. Because he had already lived those moments hundreds of times in preparation. And there's a story Brady shares just about how he told one of his college buddies, whether that was during his time at Michigan or once he got into the NFL with New England, I'm not 100% sure, but he just said once they get him on the field, he is going to make sure that they can never take him off it. In the 2000 NFL Draft, Tom Brady was selected 199th overall. 6 quarterbacks were taken before him. Nearly every team passed again and again. Tom kept his head, as Mr. Brady is known to do, so there was no public anger, no dramatic response, just a quiet, internal decision. From that moment on, Brady treated every practice like it mattered, because he knew how quickly opportunity could disappear. The draft didn't break him, it clarified him. Now, when Brady showed up in New England, there was 7 quarterbacks in camp, I believe. And I guess Bill Belichick saw something in him because Tom made the team. Obviously, I believe he was 3rd string, but he was there. When Brady arrived in New England as a rookie, he entered the building as a backup, but behaved and carried himself like a veteran. He carried a notebook everywhere, writing down defensive tendencies, coaching corrections, and details most rookies ignored. He asked offensive linemen how they preferred protections called, wanting to make sure their jobs were easier. He memorized the entire playbook, not just his reps. Brady wasn't trying to stand out. His goal was to be trusted. When young receivers ran the wrong route in practice, Brady didn't yell. He calmly threw the ball exactly where the route was supposed to be, and if the receiver wasn't there, the ball hit the turf. Brady would jog over, smile, and say, "That one was on you. We'll get it next rep." Then he stayed late to help them fix it, working with them rep after rep, walking them through it, making sure they understood and they were all on the same page. In 2001, then starting quarterback Drew Bledsoe got injured. It was Tom's time to shine. So he stepped in without panic. He protected the football, trusted preparation, and stayed calm. That year, the Patriots kept winning and won the Super Bowl. The lesson Brady took wasn't confidence, it was availability. From that point forward, he became obsessed with staying on the field. As success followed, Brady didn't train like other quarterbacks. He studied how to avoid unnecessary hits, how to end plays safely, how to make mechanics repeatable under pressure. If a receiver made a spectacular catch but ran a sloppy route, Brady would deadpan, "Nice catch, but you were too open." The room would laugh. The humor landed, the standard stayed. In week 1 of the 2008 season, Brady took a snap against the Kansas City Chiefs. As he released the ball, Bernard Pollard lunged low into Brady's left planted leg. There was no dramatic collapse. Brady stood up, believing he could shake it off. But inside the knee, catastrophic damage had already occurred. His ACL was torn, his MCL was torn, the joint was unstable. By the end of the day, his season was over on opening day. For the first time in his career, Brady wasn't preparing for opponents. He was preparing for uncertainty. Rehab stripped Brady of everything external. No crowds, no scoreboard, no competition. All that was left was just discipline. Progress was slow, humbling, deliberate. He rebuilt trust in his knee through single leg stability work. He rebuilt control through core strength. He rebuilt efficiency through controlled movement patterns designed to eliminate waste. Every rep mattered. This injury forced Brady to confront a truth. The way most players train shortens careers. So he chose a different path. After the knee injury, Tom Brady didn't simply return to football. He redefined how he would train for the rest of his career. This became known as essentially the TB12 workout, TB12 routine, whatever you want to call it. The traditional NFL approach had always been simple. Lift heavy, grind harder, push through pain. Brady came to believe that philosophy shortened careers. It created breakdown instead of durability. So he went the opposite direction. Brady began prioritizing pliability over bulk, believing muscles should be long, flexible, and resilient rather than tight and rigid. He reduced heavy max lifting and replaced it with resistance-based training designed to protect joints and preserve movement. Recovery became just as important as work. Hydration was treated like performance fuel, measured carefully and consistently. Sleep became a competitive advantage, not a luxury. Daily body work, soft tissue treatment, stretching, mobility was no longer optional. It was scheduled with the same importance as meetings and practice. Teammates noticed the difference immediately. While others exhausted themselves in the weight room, Brady was focused on how his body would feel in December. While others chased soreness, Brady chased availability. Critics questioned it, some mocked it, but seasons passed and Brady kept playing. Not just playing, but winning. I mean, for anybody to question what this guy does kind of blows my mind. Hell of a career. Consistent all the way through. But, there's always going to be somebody that has something to say. That's the way it goes, but Tom Brady is not someone that I would question. Despite his focus on longevity, Brady did not avoid pain. He simply refused to let it define him. Over the course of his career, Brady played through fractured fingers that altered his grip, shoulder strains that limited velocity, ankle sprains that affected mobility, and chronic back and hip issues that never fully disappeared. In true Brady fashion, he never or rarely spoke about it publicly. One of the clearest examples came during the 2017 postseason. Just days before the AFC Championship game, Brady tore a ligament in his throwing hand during practice. The injury caused visible swelling and limited movement. Most quarterbacks would have been sidelined. But Brady adjusted. He modified his grip, shortened his release, and relied more heavily on footwork and timing. Now, by footwork, that means in the pocket, like we all know. He wasn't much of a runner in his day. A few good runs, but that wasn't really his game. He didn't force throws that weren't there. He trusted preparation built over decades. Pain didn't stop him. Preparation protected him. While fans focused on throws and trophies, Brady was training something far less visible: his mind. Brady treated mental preparation as a skill, one that could be trained, sharpened, and refined. He visualized entire games before kickoff. He mentally walked through third downs, red zone plays, and late game situations while alone in his hotel room. He also practiced slowing his breathing to control his heart rate in chaotic moments. He rehearsed calm responses to pressure long before the pressure arrived. Teammates often said Brady seemed to know defensive coverages before the snap. That wasn't instinct. It wasn't luck. It was film study layered on visualization, layered on repetition. When the moment arrived, it felt familiar because he had already been there. As Brady entered his 40s, he made another adjustment. He didn't fight age. He respected it. He reduced overall training volume to preserve energy. He limited off-season throwing to protect his arm. He became even more selective about how and when his body absorbed stress. Every decision was filtered through one question. Will this help me play longer? While others faded, Brady adapted. At an age when most quarterbacks have been retired for years, Brady was still reading defenses faster than ever. His arm strength remained functional, though not what it used to be, and his decision-making improved. Longevity wasn't an accident. It was carefully and methodically engineered. When Tom Brady left New England after 20 seasons and joined the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the question followed him everywhere. Was it the system or the standard? The answer came quickly. From the moment Brady arrived, teammates noticed a shift. Film sessions became sharper. Preparation became more intentional. Younger players were encouraged to prioritize sleep, recovery, and study. Brady didn't lecture. He demonstrated and led by example. He stayed late with receivers, demanded clarity and communication, and expected accountability from everyone, including himself. In his first season with the Buccaneers, Brady led the team to a Super Bowl championship. Number 7 for him, after the previous 6 in New England. After the win, the world saw him laughing, celebrating, and famously making the toss of the Lombardi Trophy between boats to his good buddy Rob Gronkowski during the championship parade. That moment mattered because it showed something important. Discipline didn't remove joy from the game. It created it. For all his intensity, teammates will tell you the same thing. Tom Brady loved the locker room. He just loved winning more. Tom Brady walked away from football having played 23 seasons in the NFL from 2000 to 2022, across more than 2 decades. He didn't just survive the league, he defined it. Brady won 7 Super Bowl championships: 2001, 2003, 2004, 2014, 2016, 2018, and the final one in 2020. He appeared in 10 Super Bowls, reaching the game in nearly half of his active seasons. And of those 10 Super Bowls that he was in, he earned 5 Super Bowl MVP awards, repeatedly proving that when the moment was biggest, his preparation mattered most. Among his other accolades, he was named NFL MVP 3 times, selected to 15 Pro Bowls, honored with 6 All-Pro selections. Statistically, he retired as the NFL's all-time leader in passing yards, passing touchdowns, completions, quarterback starts, playoff wins, and playoff touchdowns. At 43 years old, he won a Super Bowl. At 44, he led the league in passing yards and touchdowns. Unreal. He didn't beat time by ignoring it. He beat time by respecting it. When Brady finally stepped away, he didn't limp out of the game. He didn't fade quietly. He left whole, physically intact, mentally sharp, and permanently established as the standard by which greatness is measured. And that concludes our story on Tom Brady. Remember, greatness isn't built in moments, it's built in habits. When no one is watching, when quitting would be easier, when excuses are available, but discipline is chosen. That is the discipline of greatness. Now, before you go, do us a favor, hit that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe so you're locked in for future episodes. You can follow us on Instagram at Discipline of Greatness Podcast. You get updates and behind the scenes content. And believe me when I say this, your support keeps this show growing, and I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you, everybody.